It's strong, it's boozy, it's fashionable. It's kind of a lot like me. Today we talk about the old-fashioned cocktail. So many years ago when I first started bartending, I was taught how to make an old-fashioned cocktail on YouTube because I am self-taught. And a lot of times that I made one, I was told that I was making it wrong. I can even remember making an old-fashioned for an industry heavyweight by the name of Jason Williams, and I've got to say, it was the worst old-fashioned I've ever made in my life. Jason, I need you to come into my bar and I'm going to make you one properly. It's kind of like the martini. I always say about the martini that if you are ever driving through the Sahara Desert, your car breaks down, you've been there for 6 days, you have no water left, there's no sign of anybody coming to save you, all you need to do, pull out your cocktail kit, start making an old-fashioned or a martini, and I bet you that someone will walk over that dune and tell you that you're making it wrong and save you. Do we use rye whiskey? Do we use bourbon? Do we use sugar cubes, sugar syrups, bitters? What type? Stirred, shaken? Definitely not shaken. We're going to talk today about how I like my old-fashioned cocktail. But first, please hit subscribe, give us a like, give us a dislike, give me anything. I really want your feedback. Originally known as the whiskey cocktail in Jerry Thomas's 1862 cocktail book, which was the first ever cocktail book, The Bartender's Guide, it called for a wine glass of whiskey. A wine glass? Let's talk about maybe using 60 mils instead. But what am I going to use? Rye whiskey or bourbon? For me, I like using a little bit of bourbon because I find that it's not as spicy as the rye, although I am a rye lover. I also find that a lot of my friends, when they drink their old-fashioned for the first time, really enjoy the bourbon. So the first ingredient that I'm going to use is 60 mils of Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Next up, sugar. Do I use sugar cube or sugar syrup? I really like using sugar syrup. The reason that I do that is I don't like when I have that little grit of the sugar at the bottom of my glass. Yes, I know that dousing a sugar cube with bitters was probably the way that it was done originally, but I just find with speed and consistency, sugar syrup is the go for me. So I'm going to add 15 mils of sugar syrup. My sugar syrup, I use a Demerara sugar, 1:1. Bitters. What type of bitters do I use? There are so many great bitters out there nowadays. I love the Fee Brothers old-fashioned bitters. Angostura bitters is fantastic. With the Buffalo Trace though, I love to use Regans, made by the late and great Gaz Regan. I think that the Regans orange bitters really complements the Buffalo Trace. 3 dashes. Let's give it a stir down. So by stirring down the cocktail, what we're doing is we're adding a little bit of dilution and we're also bringing the ABV down, which makes it a lot easier to drink. It's really important though to check it as you're making it for that dilution. Perfect. Guys, if you don't have a mixing glass or a bar spoon, you can make your old-fashioned in the glass that you're going to serve it with. You can use just a normal bar spoon, a dessert spoon, you can use your finger, whatever you like really. So do I use cube ice or block ice? I prefer to use block ice when I serve my old-fashioned. Number one, it really reduces the amount of dilution so I can take my time to drink it. Number two, it looks sexy. So a beautiful clear ice cube, definitely for me, and we're going to make some of these in an episode coming up really shortly. And as for a garnish, do we use an orange wedge, an orange wheel? I like using a dehydrated orange wheel when I serve them up at 18th Amendment Bar, but today I'm going to use an orange twist. Make sure that you peel it above the cocktail so that you get all those oils over your drink. A little bit of a squeeze and done. So there's my bourbon old fashioned. Make sure you hit us up with a like or subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again soon with Let's Talk Tricks.